Here as well. Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is April 8th, 2020. This is the morning show with the Daily Misfits called The Daily Awakening. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm your head misfit, high energy misfit. And what we do here every day is we have conversations about awakening, awareness, becoming aware, building our story, finding out our old story, all designed to help us get better. But many of us in this community are part of this profession called the multi-level marketing compensation plan, direct selling, peer selling, subscription selling. You call it what you like. I call it MLM, me loving more. And right now what we do is we're having conversations. How do we deal with the fear, the stress, the anxiety? How do we help people who are stuck at home, who lost their control? How do we help give them back a little bit of control, a little bit more than they expected? More than they ever thought possible. But how do we do that in such a way? Good morning, Anne. How do we do that in such a way that makes them feel loved, respected, makes them feel wanted as part of a community, makes them feel valuable as part of a community? That's what we do here. That's my goal of what we do here. I hope we do that on a daily basis. Today is episode 412. So we've been doing this 400 plus times. So with that being said, anybody have any ahas, awarenesses, or awakenings? I had a couple of conversations yesterday with people who absolutely did amazing things with their mind to help fix their body, to do some things that allowed them to see life in a new way. It was pretty cool to witness that process with them as we had the conversation. I think I see some new faces here. If you're new to this call, drop an N in the chat, and we'd love to say welcome, right? If you're new to this call, because you're going to hear some things different here on this call. And I say that because I'm a farm boy from Ohio with a 0.9 grade point average. So I barely made it through high school, drove by a lot of colleges, but I've studied stuff. I've been trained in stuff. I'm a certified self-talk instructor. I'm a certified life coach. There's something else I'm certified in. I don't remember what. I'm a 3-time best-selling author, #1 best-selling author on Amazon. I've stood on stage in 30 countries around the world, been translated into 40 languages. All of that means I probably failed in more languages and more locations than most people. So look at all these N's that are on here. Ash and Tana and Harish and Corles and Christina. Great to have you here. Look at all these wonderful names. Y'all send some love to all of these folks. Welcome for coming here. Thanks for listening to somebody and saying, well, you know what? I'll check it out, because somebody had to invite you here. That being said, you're going to hear a lot of different things here. You're going to hear some personal doubt. You're going to hear some personal courage. You may hear a word of two of God show up, because it's just what happens here. So I was reading my devotion this morning. It says, I'm with you and for you, your constant companion and provider. When you look at your day today, what would you say is with you always? What would you say is look at all those hearts. I love you guys. What would you say is the constant provider for you, that's with you every day? That source that's with you, that thing that beats your heart, that thing that helps you digest, the thing that controls your blood temperature, right? Your body temperature, your blood pressure, all of that stuff. What's that thing that moves you? What's that motivation that gets you? And then decide where did its source come from, right? How pure are the ideas that you carry with you? How promoting are the ideas you carry with you? How much desire do they have for you to succeed? I see Megan types your thoughts. Absolutely. Your thoughts are with you all the time. 70,000 thoughts a day we have. We're conscious of 3,000 to 5,000. That means if, say, we're conscious of 5,000, we make the thoughts. We become aware of the thoughts. right? The chair you're sitting in, the beverage you're drinking, the car you're driving, the sounds in the room that you're in. If all of that exists every single day and you're conscious of 5,000 of them, now that we're home, now that we're not traveling, there might be a lot more times that we don't have to deal with traffic or people cutting us off or people saying things or all of that stuff. Our 5,000 thoughts, we're now conscious of a little bit less, or maybe we're stressful and our mind is really racing and we're conscious of a little bit more. But that still means on average about 65,000 thoughts are going to happen to you today. And I mean that, happen to you today, because you're not even conscious of it. Right? When you think of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, and 80% of it, 90% of it's below water, that's the same thing that holds here. If you picture the largest arena, sporting arena you can think of, picture there's a dome on it, because I know there's some people from the UK that might be thinking of some football domes, soccer domes. But picture a dome on it, and then that's your subconscious mind. If you were to take a golf ball and put it on top of that dome, that's your conscious mind. So when we talk about breaking habits, when we talk about, I'm going to change, it takes 21 days to form a habit. No, it doesn't. It takes 21 days to become conscious that you decide that maybe, possibly, you might enjoy the change of this new idea. For a habit to sink in, to become the unconscious competent, it takes about a year. Takes about a year. So all that to be said, right now, today, there may be some things that are holding you back, some things that you feel you could use a little help for. Maybe you just need some flat out prayers for you. And if you're one of those folks who needs some prayer, needs some conversation, need to have some, you just got a question of, what do I do right now? Good morning, London, another Londoner. If you've got some situations that you need to deal with today, if you've got some objections that you're dealing with, whether it be in your business or things that keep popping up in your head, why do I keep finding fault with myself in this way? You're more than welcome to raise your hand and have a conversation, ask a question. This is a safe environment. And we'll see what we can do to give you some value. There's some amazing women on here. So if you're a strong woman, I can give you guidance, and I know this for a fact, up until a point. But there's some other strong women on here who I believe in, who I trust in, that can also feed in some questions and feed in some solutions to you as well. Because that's just the way things work around here. So if you got a question or concern or something, so I see Ann. Good morning, Ann. Ann has her hand up.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning.
So I had this weird aha moment, but it's weird because I'm still trying to figure it out.
I love it.
So like 2 days ago we had that kind of conversation about like being unhappy, etc.
Yes.
So the other day I was thinking about why it's so hard for me to exercise. And so normally with my personality, I do things. If I hate something, I will do it repetitively until I like it. I don't know why, that's just a part of me. But this is the one thing that I just will give up on straight away, which is exercise. And the other day I had a conversation with one of my family members, and I realized that every time I'd begun to make exercise a routine, I would start to explore things from my past, and I would get more emotional, and I would want to kind of find out what the core is behind why I'm feeling that way. And I think that's why it's so easy for me to also give up on exercise, because it means that I don't really want to kind of find out what's in my subconscious or unconscious. So yeah, that's just a weird, I don't know why it's linked to exercise, but it's just a weird.
Well, so have you ever been accused of being able to accomplish things because of your beauty?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's linked to that.
Oh.
Because if
I,
you become more toned, you become more svelte, you become more whatever it is you're looking to do when you work out. Won't you take that level that you've been accused of at this point, because it's your personality? You're the whole package. You're everything, and life is so easy for you. And then if you become a little bit more pretty, or a little bit more curvy, or a little bit more this, or don't you think you might get a little bit more? Oh wow, you're now you're really just rubbing it in our faces.
oh, okay. So I've internalized someone else's.
It's just somebody else's story of you, because that word jealous runs in a lot of ways and is said in a lot of ways. So here's a thought. The reason things, see, the challenge is when we go after a goal, we work on ourselves.
Yeah.
That's 1 out of 6 areas that we need to work on. Success is always a math problem. And sometimes it's a real serious math problem. And so there's 6 areas, and I'll tell you the 6 areas that help when you become aware of them. There's personal motivation, and there's personal ability. So you get motivated. I'm going to do it. You set 13 alarms, and you set alarms that are in the kitchen, so that you got to get up and walk out to it. And then you're like, well, hell, I may as well get up now and go to work, or go work out. That's personal motivation. Personal ability is, do you have the ability to sit there and say, it's time for me to go to work, to overcome fear and doubt and procrastination, all of that. That's all on a personal level. We might work on both of those, but now it's a 2 against 4. Unless I'm Van Damme or somebody like that, some fighter.
Yeah.
I can't take on 4 people. So here's the other 4: social ability and social motivation. Right there's where you lose. People start to say things. You start to have conversations with people who weave in stories, who weave in trigger words, who weave in conversations that cause your personal ability and personal motivation to just fail. You're right. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I'll stay with the size I am, the weight I am. I'll try to work on it slower so that I can sneak it into them. And one day they'll look at me and go, oh my God, you look amazing. I didn't know this happened. So there's personal ability and motivation. There's social ability and motivation. So what is your social community saying? See, people come to here for social motivation. Mm-hmm. Right? Social motivation and social ability. I give you the ways to have the ability to go do it. We give you the motivation because we show up every day. But then there's a third one: structure, structural ability, and structural motivation. Can the plan you're about to implement engage the social and engage the personal? So do you have a structure? Do you measure things on a daily basis? Did you pay for a gym membership so that you need to get, you don't want to lose that money, right? Because that's one more thing that you'd be spending and not getting any results with. What's your structural ability to keep you plugged in? Did you buy a set of clothing that you want to fit into? Did you get rid of stuff that you wear now because you can't, and you don't want to have it to be your backup, right? That's the big thing that people, well, I'm just going to keep these around in case I put on a pound or 2 back. I'm going to keep my fat clothes around.
Are you actually asking me?
No. I'm just saying, but these are things that people do that they weren't even aware that structurally, the structure with which they are stepping into doesn't provide them value. Okay. So you hanging around your friends or family, when you start to exercise, I'd never tell them you're going to exercise. They may see it, they may say something, but when they say, where are you going? Say, I'm going for a tea, I'm going for a walk. You don't need to tell them that you're going to the gym or whatever you're going to do, because that social ability, you're just going to trigger it to find a challenge and trigger old stories in your head for the last 23 years about you getting healthier.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
You're welcome, my dear. take it for what it's worth, farm boy from Ohio, but 54 years of experience, it might be of value to you.
Was, definitely was.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. I'm so glad you're here. I don't know if anybody's told you thank you today and that you're an amazing soul, but if they haven't, I'd love to be one of the first ones.
Did you say, sorry, that whole conversation, did you say you had trouble going to the gym? Like, I think I just lost some parts of it.
No, so I didn't have trouble going to the gym. What I do is I say to myself, right, I'm going to start putting exercise into my daily regime.
Right.
So I do it for a week, and then and then I start feeling emotions from my past. I start, I don't know, I just start developing just emotions. Like I'll start crying randomly. I'll start thinking about things that have happened in the past. And then somehow next week I don't have the motivation to complete that regime. So I stop. And then, so I've stopped, like this happened in August. So I've stopped working out. Then I've started again during this kind of quarantine time. And again, when I came here on...
You lost momentum?
Sorry?
Did you lose momentum?
No, I just, I mean, I just lost the will. I just kept thinking about my old stories. And then when I started exercising again during this time, on Monday, I think it was, 2 days ago, on Monday, I came here and I sort of talked about my emotions, and I was very emotional. And then I realized yesterday that every time I do some sort of physical activity that I'm like learning new things about myself, and maybe I stop exercising because I don't want to learn about myself through the subconscious, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It's so funny that I'm actually on this call right now, because I literally thought this today with Les, right? So and then I'm like, I'm not gonna turn up because Les not on. Like, Sean will kill me, right? So I'm just turning up today. I don't know, because it's only 9:30, and I realize now on Saturday it's gonna be 8:30. Which is like 11:30 my time, but I'll stay up for that one. Anyway, back to your thing. So I have never been a gym person. Like I have never been toned. I've never been I've lost a lot of weight within 2 years, right? I used to be I lost four sizes, but I was never toned. So I was skinny, but I have flaps in my stomach because not because I just do. Like just even when I had no kids and after kids and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted to go to the gym. And the time that I used to go to the gym was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, like to prepare for my wedding. So I was going really hard, right? I was going really hard, and I lost some weight and I looked amazing, but I really want like a toned tummy. But yeah, it didn't happen, but I've trained really, really hard. Now, why did I go back all the way there? And I just wanted to kind of give you a frame for reference. And it's funny that I'm on this call and I believe I was meant to share it. So when I lost the weight, every single time I've joined the gym and I quit and I just keep doing that, and I was just like, I just couldn't do it. So I thought I'm just going to give up. And so what I realized was that, we are trying to use action to compensate for the energy that we haven't lined up with. So if you're on this call, I know that you know about energy and how we all energy and how thoughts create before we even do anything. Yeah. Our actions are only meant to enjoy already the manifestation that's already vibrationally like occurred, right? So whenever you think of a food, the reason why it tastes so good is because you already know what it tastes like. So you're like salivating, and you're like, so by the time you eat it, you're really enjoying it more. Mm-hmm. So going back to the gym thing, exercising. So a lot of people are struggling with that, and I used to be, and I'm speaking from my own experience. And now the reason why I'm talking to it now is that 3 months ago, I was so drawn to the gym. Like the 2nd of January, I was like, gotta go to the gym, go back to gym, sign up the contract. And then because I look at my old experience, I just joined up for 3 months. And then after that, like every single day, I was so drawn to go to the gym. Like I love going to the gym now. Like I can't not go to the gym. Whereas before, it was almost like, oh my Lord, I gotta go to the gym. Because the stories that we've been telling ourselves in the past was that, I got to go to the gym, like this is I don't know about yours, but I have to train for my wedding, because if I look fat, then I'm not pretty. Like I'm not like, I need to look skinny for my wedding. So I am looking at something I'm trying to avoid. Does that make sense? But this right now is like my vision is pulling me to the gym. Like I just cannot go. And that's what you want. That's the place you want to get to, because that's the energy that you've accomplished, and you have this energy that just pulls you. That's like, they always say like follow your passion and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. So I noticed that the last 3 years, what I've been doing is that you have to be happy where you are, like not needing the manifestation to happen for it to show up to you. Does that make sense? So yeah. I didn't really care that I didn't go to the gym. I was like, you know what? What happened? I want that body. Like I've had this picture on my vision wall for the last 3 years, and I'm like, I know by this year I'm gonna get that tummy. I just know it because I felt it and I saw it in my vision. Visualization is different from receiving an image when you're just happy and joyful, right? But if you're trying to visualize to kind of like, oh my God, I really need to get skinny, and you're trying to visualize it, that doesn't work, because the energy you're coming from is the energy of fear, the energy of, oh, I don't like it, I'm avoiding it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what you have to do is that, I have massive subconscious issues and, all that stuff. That's why I was fat, because why was I fat? Because I keep looking for things, and it's momentum. Like you started with little things like, oh, my nose is big, whatever. And then slowly my nose is big, and then the energy of that momentum flows. So then, my eyes and my, like my whole body, and then I'm fat, I'm ugly. So then obviously your body conforms to the image you have of it. But then I started to turn around. I'm like, well, actually, the only thing I liked, I remember when I started the momentum, was the only thing I liked was my eyebrows, because I draw real good eyebrows in the past, right? I'm like, okay, so what's one thing I like about myself? And I couldn't think of anything. And the only thing I thought of was my eyebrows. I mean, as you can see, I've got none, right? So I draw really well. And then after that, as it builds up, I don't force it. I'm like, okay, well, what's another thing I might like about myself? So you have to understand about law of attraction and momentum, and that's how it really works. And then within that 3 years, I was able to align my energy and say, you know what? I'm happy with my body right now. I love myself. I love my body. I love every part of my body. I love who I am becoming. I love who I was. So keeping it really, really general, so you don't activate the beliefs you built up for all those years. I don't know how old you are, but I'm over 30. I'm over 35, and I'm just, like it's brought up a lot of that, like you said, subconscious, but it's not really subconscious, because they're active right now. You are attracting at this moment, whatever the thought you're thinking, you are bringing it back into your experience right now. So it's not about subconscious, it's very conscious right now, because you're thinking of it. So when you have that feeling, that ugly feeling, you really need to tap into that feeling, and then go really general and go, you know what? It's going to happen. Something really, really general. Like it might not happen before, but if other people can do it, I can do it. Can you see how that kind of soothes it a little bit? Like you don't get all yucky about, whatever the stories you tell yourself in the past. And then over time, you're going to get better and better at it. And it took me, I noticed, because now I live so consciously, I noticed that it took me 3 years to line up my energy. And then now it's almost like I am so annoyed. I'm not really annoyed, but I was like, oh my God, I was going so well for 3 months, and now I have to stay home. I'm trying to think of what ways to, to work out home, but I'm not rushing myself out there looking at YouTube and trying to work myself out. It's not going to happen, because I'm not using my actions to compensate for the energy that I haven't lined up with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I think it's just, in the past, I've been told, like, you need to work out. Like, I didn't think I needed to work out, but they would say, you need to work out because you're looking a little chubby. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with how I look. But they would be like, you do need to. And I think, I did internalize that, but obviously I rebelled, but I did take their opinions as mine. And I used to think, yeah, maybe I should. But now I think I work out because I actually want to stay fit and healthy, and I don't really care as much as to like my appearance. Like it doesn't matter, like if I get thinner and more toned, yeah, I mean, I'm happy, but I want to have a healthier heart. I want to have a healthier body that takes me through day to day. Like, my body goes through much. I beat her up all the time, and I don't need to really be doing that. So I think I've changed my mindset in that way. But you're right in terms of like it being in the conscious level. It is conscious because I am actually thinking about it, and I'm attracting negative thoughts because of what I tell myself from the past. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
And it's not because because it's law of attraction. Like, this universe doesn't have exclusion, right? So you can't go, don't think about the pink elephant. You're going to think of pink elephant, and then you divert away from it. So whenever you're pushing away something, you are actually having that in your vibrational field, and you're attracting that. So you have to be at peace with these people thinking that, you need to lose weight. You're like, awesome. But you have to be at peace with it and say, you know what, that's your opinion. But my opinion, I think I'm okay. Like, so you're staying, you're not pushing away what they're saying, because in the process of you doing that, you are actually attracting that and having that stopping you. Does that make sense? So you're pushing and you're pulling away. So so you're pulling in the vision that you want, but you're pushing it away at the same time, because that's exactly in your vibrational bag. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when you, like what you said, when you change your mindset, it's going to become easier, but it's not going to happen overnight or even a year or whatever, right? Like I said to you, it took me 3 years, but in that 3 years, I didn't go, oh my God, I'm not losing weight again. Oh my God, like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm happy doing this. I'm happy doing that. You have to be happy where you are unconditionally, right? And do the things that are pleasurable for you. And then those actions will become so pleasurable to you. And to tell you this as well, like when I went to the gym this time, the last time it took me 9 months to like lift like a certain weight, right? Like my weights, because I do pump classes. And then now within like 2 months, I literally surpassed it. But I remember when I was at, 10 years ago when I was doing it, I was like, oh God, it's too heavy. It's too heavy. I can't do it. Do you know why? Because I remember I had this thought in my mind that my friend said, oh, if you do a lot of weights, your calves going to get big. Right? So that's why my body was like, no, that's too much. I can't lift anymore. And this time I went back, and it's like within 2 months, I surpassed it already. So it's not anything, like, I believe it's just a thought you keep thinking over and over again. So if you keep it general, that's going to peter out. All the negative, all the things, it's going to peter out. But, you've got to really like understand, and you're really using your feeling, because that's your guidance system. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I feel like we've taken over Sean's session, but
but see, everything that you just heard, we can fill in the blank for anything. Prospecting. Yeah. I'm not good at prospecting. I'm not good at retention. I'm not good at communication. I'm not good in relationships. All of this comes back to the 6 areas, but it comes back to the feeling. So, Anne, if you were to ask yourself, why am I so good at being at my ideal shape, weight, and figure? Why am I so good at that? Why am I so good when people say you should work out? Why am I so good at loving them for where they're at and loving me for where I'm at? Because we can come up, and that's an affirmation. That comes out of the Secret Code to Success from Noah St. John. But he talks about affirmations, not affirmations. I'm skinny. You look at the next time you walk by a mirror, you go, ha, the hell you are. But what Maggie is saying, and this is why I love her, and it's of course why she's here, it's about the energy. And you can tell she's got a little bit of energy. It's the questions we ask ourselves. It's never what you say about me. Listen carefully, everybody. It's never what you say about me. It's what I say about me after you leave.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's always about a story. And so having people around you, right, who feed into your energy, who help you keep that energy, who become conscious of where you're at, right? Sadhguru says, in this moment, you have a choice. Choose misery or choose joy. We all want the intellect. We all want the sharp intellect. If I could give you a choice for your intellect, would you want it sharp or dull? 99% of the people say, I want a sharp intellect. Great. Now, would you ever hand a sharp knife to a 3-year-old? I mean, a really sharp knife. I mean, like a big kitchen knife. Would you ever hand that to a 3-year-old and say, go have fun today? No. Absolutely not, because they'd cut themselves. That's what we do every day with our intellect. We become so sharp. We become so good. We become so good at investigative questions, but they're investigating something that's not true about us. But boy, can we come up with 1,001 reasons why we shouldn't work out, why we're not good at prospecting, why we're not good at retention. We can come up with 10,000 reasons why we suck at relationships, why our family likes us or doesn't like us, or why society is all. And then we add the emotion of this particular scenario that's happening right now. and you highly charge these conversations and they become highly emotional. And the way you remember things, there's things you can remember from your childhood instantly, right? Can you remember your first kiss, Anne?
Yeah.
What do I say? How many of you have been on my calls and I go, you're either going to you're going to laugh for one of two reasons. Either it was horrible or it was like, what were they kissing? Who, this guy, because women usually will laugh. Guys will usually go, uh-huh. They don't realize how much they sucked when they were doing their first kiss. But I'm guessing it probably wasn't last week, your first kiss.
No.
But you instantly, that's called a quantum leap. How could you instantly go from this moment to that moment without worrying about what you ate for lunch yesterday? And if the law of polarity works, you can quantum leap as far back. If you had to guess, how many years ago was that? 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so let's just say it's 10. You were 13 when it happened. So that means, guess what? If you can quantum leap in a mind thought, in an energy field, back 10 years into the past, you can quantum leap to 10 years in the future and be there right now. The law of polarity says if you're in London and you're 8,236 miles away from me, or you're 9,000 kilometers from me, I have to be 9,000 kilometers from you. I can't be 1 inch either closer or shorter, closer or farther away. So there's always a center point. And right now, this story that you're having is going back to old stories. What if you went to new stories and everybody was excited? What if you consciously said right now, this is the new belief I established. This is the new feeling that I want.
Yeah.
The fact that you talked about it today, I recommend everybody when they set a goal and they start towards it. See, most people, and I'm going to use again you because you're this brave, strong woman that I get to have a conversation with. We all wait for our reward to be the loss of weight, to be the change of clothes, to be the change of something we can see in the physical world. The fact that we walk out the door to go do exercise needs a reward.
Yeah.
We forget to reward ourselves. We wait for the big thing to happen and we don't reward ourselves along the way. But you know what we do? But you know what we do along the way? We beat the hell out of ourselves for the things we don't. So it's like, well, crap, the last time we went to go do this exercise thing, you never liked it anyways. But now if all of a sudden the fact that you talked about it this morning, what's something that you could give yourself? What's a little reward that you could do today that you get to say, you know what, this is a reward for me? Is it a cup of tea? Is it a coffee? Is it to sit down and read a page of a book you haven't read in a while? Is it to dance around listening to a song you like? What's something little that you know you can give yourself today that you could identify it as, you know, this is my reward for talking about me getting healthy this morning?
I probably could read the book that I've been meaning to read for a while, probably in my garden. So
when you sit down and you open that book, say, this is my reward. See, we never, again, I'm not a woman, at least last time I checked. But when we go and have our conversations of the things that we do, like when you're going to go do this reading of the book, the reason you haven't read the book, the reason you've been meaning to read the book, is because somebody told you if you read the book, you're being selfish. You're doing something for you. Why don't you have time for you? I need to be doing stuff for everybody else. I need to be taking care of everybody else because that is my reward and I don't deserve that right now. So I would encourage you, go read a page. How many of you would like to volunteer? How many of you would like to help the homeless, feed the poor? Go online and donate $5 to the Red Cross. Why does it have to be thousands of dollars? Why does it have to be, I got to donate millions. I've got to be a Bill Gates and donate $1.8 billion. Go give $5 today. You want to change your frequency? You want to change your vibration? Call somebody today and check in on them who you know maybe they might be hurting and say, hey, listen, do you need a friend to listen to you today? We think all of these things have to be huge. You heard Maggie, it took 3 years for her to come up with this. to work through this. And then when she decided in 2 months, she surpassed what she decided before because it's the old story. All of this can happen in breakneck pace if we start taking actions on more of what we want and less of what we don't. If we become more of who we are and less of who we're not, and if we start to do less, we become more. If you sat down and read that book, how long have you been wanting to read that book?
For like 2 weeks now.
So if I can get you to read that book today, 1 page of it,
Yeah.
haven't you given yourself back the next 14 days? Because it would have been another 2 weeks before you read the book.
Yeah.
And then it's a month that's gone by and you still haven't read the book. And then guess what happens? We take that book off the shelf, off the mental shelf of desire, wants, and wishes. And we go, yeah, I wanted to read that book. And now we adjust our story. I wanted to read it. I want to read it. And now it's, I wanted to read it. You know, I have that book. Maybe I should get that back out.
Yeah.
And we repeat a pattern after pattern after pattern. If you want to prospect people today, call somebody up and say, hey, listen, could I talk to you about my business? Hell no. Woo, at least I asked one person. That's more than I did yesterday.
Can I just add, like,
yeah, absolutely, Maggie.
The gift that you give yourself, it doesn't even have to be an action. Like, you have to be pleasurable in your thought of it. So if you were thinking of the gym and you're feeling like, ugh, you know, like the story comes back again, then you're not giving yourself that pleasure, that me time that Sean was talking about. So a lot of people will go out and and do things because they think it has to be magnificent. They need to see the physical thing. They need to say, okay, I need to do these things so that I can see that I'm rewarding myself, or I need to do this. No, your gift to you is to feel good right now, because this right now moment is all you've got, and everything you're attracting is right now. So this feel good moment is going to lead to the next feel good moment, and it's going to show, the universe is going to show you why you feel good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So that is, you have your freedom. Your basis is freedom. That's your choice. Like, you have a choice to choose a better thought. And a lot of people don't think like that, and people don't understand it. You create with your thought, not your actions. Like you said, like, how much action would you need to compensate? Like, I try to do a lot of my action, like pay my gym membership, dragging myself there, but I don't feel good about it, so then I give up. But if you can do that and sustain that momentum, that would turn into an action that you're going to enjoy so much. Like right now, I just can't wait to go back to the gym. And I never thought the day that I would say that. But I get it. So then everything I want is already in, it's already happened. Like, I just have to get myself into that momentum, and then eventually thoughts will become things. Eventually, divine timing and all that stuff. You can't plan divine timing. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did I come to this talk now to have my story to share with you? Right? So my inner being, my innate already have an overview of what's happening in the future already. So it was already leading me to those things that I can have something I can share with you. That's, to me, that's very powerful, because now that I'm consciously doing this, I know that everything I want will eventually come to me. If I just maintain myself in a pleasurable state, doing the things that I love, putting myself first, because when I put myself first, I am putting everyone else going to benefit.
In this moment, we get to choose joy or misery.
Yes, you get to choose the thought. It doesn't have to be like a massive leap, like, oh my goodness, like I have to envision like this tone body. Like, you won't be able to do it, because the law of attraction will only get you to the next ring. It's like a radio tuner, right? You can't go from one station to the next, but you have to tune that thing. So whatever you're thinking right now, you can only have the vicinity of whatever, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm seeing or talking to someone that's miserable, I'm like, oh crap, that means that I am around their vicinity for me to attract them to be in my experience right now. That's all you've got. That's all you've got.
I need to hear that.
That's why, yeah, so you have to really, you got to choose a better thought, and eventually that's going to build momentum, and then it's going to cause you to go to the gym that you can't even stop it. Wild horses can't even stop me, like right now. Well, no, actually, no, because they closed my gym, so I can't walk in there. But you know what I mean? Like, if I get myself there and I can't get in the gym, that's a different story.
Yeah. Wow, that was so powerful. Thank you.
My pleasure. Do things that pleasure you.
Definitely.
So the fact that you even thought about reading the book and said, you know, I'm actually going to do that. Didn't that change your feeling about the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it is. And this is where journaling is so important. This is where journaling is so important, keeping track of your success, because we will forget our success rapidly. And there's nobody out there being a cheerleader for us. Very few people have a Maggie in their life, or a Rhonda in their life, or Brittany in their life, or you in their life who cheerlead them along. We need our own cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does have to be us. That's why Tony Robbins' morning exercise, his morning medicine, is reaching up and grabbing and going, yes, yes. And you're reaching up and you're pulling it in there, because it's just changing that energy, changing. Emotion creates motion, or motion creates emotion. Emotion can create motion, but motion can create emotion, and getting excited about it and actually physically moving the body and pulling it into your heart, and breathing in faith and courage and exhaling fear and doubt. And we tell ourselves a better story because we want the feeling, and that feeling we get to maintain. That feeling is the fire that lights us inside. Who'd have thunk, Anne, that this would have been such a thought-provoking conversation?
I know. I felt sorry for the 74 people that was listening to me, but I feel like it's been productive. I don't know about...
If this has been productive for you all, type a P in the chat. I was going to say leave a P in the chat. No, don't leave a P in the chat. So Anne and Maggie, thank you. You can see all the people that are saying it was awesome. And I see a lot of women's names in there. Funny how that happens. Y'all are queens. Listen, the Dalai Lama said the world will be saved by the Western woman. I just take out the Western. The world will be saved by women. Where we're at right now requires each of you to take your place.
We gave birth to the world. Duh. Of course, the same energy can save it. Duh.
I'm not saying, I'm not doubting that fact, my love. So I love Maggie. Julio, you got your hand up, brother.
Hey, good morning, Sean the Don. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Good to hear you, brother.
First off, I just want to say thank you for all that you do. God bless you as always. And I love to say that I really enjoyed you saying all that you said about women and everything, because like from the get-go you started off talking about all the ladies on here and everything, and you know, it is true, women do rule the world, just like how Beyonce said. And real quick, I want to say shout out to Brittany, because Brittany has really helped me out in the last, I want to say 1 to 2 months. And she's really helped me out so much in such short time. And I really love Brittany, and I love what she does. I love who she is, and I love seeing her growth. And one question, I know this is really off topic, but one question I wanted to ask you today was, are there any favorite laws that you love, Sean? Like, for example, spiritual laws. Is there like a favorite one you have in mind? Just because you said something, the law of polarity earlier. So,
well, there's 7 universal laws. If you read Science of Getting Rich, there's 7 universal laws. But the one law that I choose is of the simplest. Is one that the earthworm doesn't even have to choose. I choose joy. All the other laws fall into place when you're in there, and since we have no control over them, and they're going to do what they do. If law of attraction works, what's the best state for me to be in? Joy. If the law of polarity works, and people are opposite all around me, people are negative all around me, I get to choose joy, right? The solution is in every problem. And Einstein says the ideas of man that created the problem cannot be the same mindset that gets you to solve the problem. I translate that to what got you here can't get you out of here.
Yeah.
Right. So if we stay in joy, how can we break it down to the simplest aspect? Joy, misery. Right now, breathe, choice. Which state do you choose? Well, joy. Can anything compound? Can anything double in energy? Yes. That's why, how many of you remember when you were little, or maybe even recently, you were mad at something and somebody started laughing and you got more mad? I don't want to be happy. Nobody ever calmed down by telling them to calm down, and nobody ever got happy by telling them when they were crying, just be happy. What we resist, as Maggie was saying, what we resist persists, and what we push pushes back harder. Right? I've done it in 30 countries, 30 plus countries. I've stood on stage, walked up to somebody in the front row, had the translator say, put your hand up. And they put their hand up, and I put my hand up, and I just started leaning into their hand. You know what everybody instantly does? They instantly resist. I go, wait a minute, do you follow instructions? They said, yes. I said, put your hand up. And I just start pushing, and they instantly resist. All I said was put your hand up. I didn't say resist me. And all of a sudden, everybody goes, oh. So every idea that challenges us to be out of our own personality causes us to resist that change. But then what I do is I have that person stand up and I go, okay, now you push. I said, don't lose contact with my hand, but you push. And I just let them push, and I lead them all the way around the room. I say, even with your resistance, I can still lead you. Even with your desire for control, I can still be the one in control because I choose joy. You're not pushing me someplace. I am letting you flow in your energy to a new location.
If you were to tell me to put my hand up, I'd probably bring you in for a hug first. But thank you, Sean.
That would be now.
All right. Thank you so much.
You bet. I appreciate you. Monique, where are you at, my love?
I'm here.
There you are. So Monique is she's a television star. She's been in movies. She's this amazing mom. She's this amazing apple pie maker. Oh my gosh. A quarantine apple pie maker. She brought one to my house. Oh my God, it's like we just finished it like not too long ago. I'm like, it's still good. I'm like, it still tastes good. I'm going to eat it. So, Monique, you've dealt with some of these issues about self-esteem and self-worth and self-visualization. How many pounds did you go through giving up?
So I was 409, I say, the day that I changed my life, and I lost over half of that.
Now that's not a highway she was on.
Right. Yeah, no, it felt like one because it was literally like a crash, like I think one day, it didn't happen this quickly, but it felt like one day somebody was telling me, if you don't change things, you're going to die in about 5 years of either a heart attack or a stroke. And after that, it took about a year of me still questioning, can I do this? Like, am I going to be able to, because they basically told me that I had dieted so much that I had ruined my body to the point where even, traditional ways of losing weight, like, eating right and exercising may not be as successful as I really wanted it to be. So I had to take drastic measures to lose the weight very quickly because I didn't have the luxury of time. And I did get a gastric bypass surgery to do that. However, as I was saying in the chat, I had this story about myself that I had been told my whole life. I was the chubby girl with the pretty face. Oh, your face is so pretty. That's what I would always get. And I don't think people would say that to me like, meaning to be hurtful, but it really hurt me because it was kind of like that, your face is so pretty, but, comment. And that would really cut me like a knife. And, I learned to be funny. I learned to be the fat, funny girl. That was the identity that I recreated for myself so that people wouldn't notice that I was overweight. So when it came time for me to lose the weight, I really struggled. Like, people would think that it was easy to do. And, oh, once you lost the first 100 pounds, it probably felt great. And I said, nope, nobody actually noticed until I lost the first 100 pounds. That was the first time that somebody said to me, you look different. Something's different about you. And I said, yeah, I've lost 100 pounds. That's what's different about me.
Wow.
But I, you know, like, it was those little things there, even, that I was like, hello, I've lost 100 pounds and you're just now noticing. So like Sean was saying, we do it to get recognition. And it's, you know, it was a process that I had to go through to realize that, but I had to stop waiting for people to notice me. I had to stop.
Wait a minute. Yeah, say that again.
I had to stop waiting for people to notice me. I had to notice myself. I had to notice my value and my worth. And, you know, I still have to do that, even though I've lost all of that weight and I've continued to keep it off. I still struggle with, do people still notice me? You know, am I still good enough? You know, are they used to me being this size now? Am I still valuable to, you know, so everybody goes through that. Like, you know, I'm sorry, the lady that was speaking earlier, I forget her name, to Anne.
Maggie T. Fan.
Maggie T. So she was saying something she was saying a lot of things that were very, very valid. You have to talk to yourself differently. You have to do that. Nobody is going to talk to you differently. And if you're waiting on somebody to talk to you differently, or you're waiting on somebody to keep you motivated, you're 1000% going to be disappointed in the long run, because that doesn't stay forever. The only thing consistent in this equation is you. So I hope that helps a little bit. Because for me, in the beginning, it was about the weight, but I shed so much more than, what was it, like 285 pounds. I shed so much more than the weight. I shed an emotional weight that was there my whole entire life, that still continues to try to creep up on me, because your old story never stops trying to break through, because it's constantly trying to test you. This is going to break you. This is going to make you go backwards. I'm going to make you lose. And it's the way you talk to yourself that says, nope, not today. You're not going to make me lose today. And my winning is not determined by my weight. My winning is not determined by the way I look. My winning is determined by the way I feel. The rest comes as a bonus. So I hope that makes sense.
It may, well,
There's no outer world. It's only in us.
Yes.
Right. So it's almost like I used to want people to, you know, tell me I look beautiful, and I want people to tell me, you know, appreciate me, and, you know, think I'm amazing. And it's almost like coming from lack, trying to get someone at the outer world to fill at the void. And that's where everyone, you know, a lot of people struggle, is because until you fill your own void and just take your place as worthy, then you tell yourself that you're amazing, you're appreciative, and you're appreciating yourself, that you're actually moving and making progress. And all of a sudden, people come out of nowhere and they're appreciating me. I'm like, I don't need you anymore, right? But that's just how it works. Yep. Or like when people come to me and say, you're amazing, you'll be like, yeah, I don't really need you anymore. I needed you when I was fat, when I was, you know, but no, I don't need it. But then that's just how the law works. You can't go against it. It doesn't work like that. So you have to start with the mirror, and you have to, you know, there was really, I had a really, I think in my early journey, I had a really powerful exercise that I was, you know, really helped me was, you have to like go to, if you're comfortable doing this, it took me 3 days to get myself on board to do this. And when I did that, I cried, which is really a release of all the emotions. But you stand in front of the mirror, like take all your clothes off, and then you hug the parts that you hate, and you say, I love you. Or like even the shower, you hug yourself, and like the parts that you don't like. And then for me, for like 3 days, I was like, how can you love something you hate, right? And I'm like, well, just hug it and go, you know, your body is not just these yucky parts. Like they're helping you to digest your food. It's walking you places, like, you know, you're not sick, and you start crying, because that's how you really are feeling about yourself. And then you have all these voices that talk into you, and you take them as your own, and that's why you keep beating yourself up. So if you can do that over and over time again, you realize that, you know what, but it's just, you know, every part of the world, there's things that you don't like and things you like, right? And whatever you focus on to, it's gonna grow. So where do you want to focus that thing to, right? But the reason why it's really hard for us to shift is because the momentum has been building for so long. That's why I love attraction. It doesn't let you shift straight away. So you have to work it slowly. And start with the mirror. Start with the littlest thing you love or you like about yourself. I'm sure somebody will have complimented you somehow. Like I said, I started really just in my eyebrows. But then that was a powerful lesson. I mean, I exercised. It took me 3 years and like 3 days to get myself on board and do that. And I cried in the shower.
Yeah, that hug yourself, hug the parts of yourself that you hate is so valid, because I remember after I lost all the weight, of course, anybody who loses a lot of weight knows, or women that have babies and their body changes knows, that the one thing you're left over with is a lot of loose skin in areas. And it can be almost uglier than having, you know, rolls on your body and you know, having a bigger body. And I remember, like, after I lost all that weight, then I was criticizing myself for that. And I thought to myself, I can't even help that. Like, there's not much I can do about that. And I wish she was on this call. Heather Love actually posted yesterday a picture of herself when she was heavier. And then now, and she bared her loose skin. And I thought, how brave of her to do that. I've done it too. I've made a video on it. I've, you know, grabbed, pulled, stretched so people could see, like, that is there. That's a part of me. That is what it is. Yes, I could go get a surgery and have it all taken off, but I'm way beyond that point now. I'm way beyond that point of like torturing myself over every little thing that is wrong with my body when I've come so far. You know, us as women are so good at doing that to ourselves. We're so good at talking bad to ourselves. We've got to get good at talking good to ourselves, you know?
Yeah, and then that's what we do to other people as well. We judge them on not, you know, the whole being, but you go, oh yeah, I don't like that person because they said that. Can you see how that's just all a reflection? I mean, when I figured this thing out, everyone that comes into my life, I'm like, not your problem. If I hate you, it's my problem, because it's something around with my thinking, my view about what you said. It's not about your judgment, it's about my judgment about your judgment. So let me go and sort myself out, and then I'll come back to you. And if you keep doing that, you realize that, oh my God, everywhere you go now, everyone's just so beautiful. And then, you know, even when I went to the States and come back and say, what's my favorite part? I'm like, the people. I'm like, I mean, but everywhere I go, the people are amazing. You know, like, but then I don't get the same thing with someone else telling me that, you know, people from Dallas are this or people from this or that. I'm like, no, you know, you attract who you are. Like, it's just, but then those people, they're not ready, then you can't hear it. And it was, it's funny, I want to share one more story because I don't get on here very often, but it was the other day, I meditated, and then in my meditation, I saw, it was really powerful. I know this already, but when it came to me as a vision, it really kind of like nailed it. So what I saw was, you know, a disabled person, right? So whenever we go, and then what I translated vibrationally, because everything's vibration, and then our thoughts and everything else, like when we touch things, we're translating that vibration to touch, and when we see, we're translating that into our sight, and so on. So when I got that vision was, you know, whenever we see, say, for example, a disabled person, right, they can't do much for us, like, because we can physically see, right? So we're not going to expect them to do more for us than they can. So for example, if they can't walk, you're not going, why are you running? Like, you should be running at this age. Like, what are you doing, right? However, when somebody else is mentally not capable, right, because we can't see with our own eyes, and then they do something to us and make us feel bad, we judge them. Because we're like, oh, how come, you know, you're not smart enough? Or, you know, why are you thinking that? You should be mature at that age. Can you see what I'm trying to say? Or if they are not spiritually, we're like, you should be more spiritual, right? So you have to accept people for where they are. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that they're not there. Everyone is doing their best. But when that vision came to me, I was like, oh my God, I have to share this with somebody. And you guys are the first people I share it to. You know, like when we see somebody that can't sing, we're not going to go, why are you not sing that note for, you know, high school? So we rely so much on our physical senses that we are forgetting who we are, as we started off as vibrational, and we started off as from thin air, vibrational energy. Where were we before we were an egg or a sperm, or, you know, where did we even come from? So that's what I just wanted to share that, because when I saw that, I was like, you know what? That's why everyone, whenever they tell me, or whenever they, you know, it just really nailed it down. Like I I was already, you know, making peace with whoever came to me, and if they don't like me, or if they something different, if they have a different belief, I was like, okay, I'll let it go. But when I saw that vision, I was like, okay, that's really, really powerful, because when we see someone fall down, we help them because they see them bleeding and stuff. But when someone is angry at us because someone is seeing something else, discord to who they are, which is love and pure positive energy, and they're negative to us, we go, oh, Dad, you're too negative. Right? But if you were speaking to me, you know, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I was slapping your face. I'm like, that's all I have, man. Like, I'm a negative person. This is an empty class. This is half empty. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then, but the thing is that I won't come across those people anymore, because I'm no longer like that, because now my point of attraction is different. I only come cool people around like you guys and Sean, right? So I don't have those negative people anymore, but I have to practice that. And that's a constant conscious effort. And once you're good at it, it's like riding a bicycle. You're never going to fall again. Well, maybe it's once in a while, but you know, you have to really practice it, and you got to use your feeling, like Sean said, follow your joy, and that's just going to lead you to endless stuff to show you the manifestation why your life is so amazing. But I said my life was amazing before it was even amazing, right? But you have to train that. So yeah, I just want to share that vision with you. When I saw it in my meditation, I thought, wow, that's someone's going to appreciate that. So I hope at least one person appreciate what I just shared.
Well,
I know it's from false.
just to give you an idea, the relationship that Maggie and I have didn't start off this way. I met her at an event.
He's trying to hug me and I ran.
I told her, I said to her how much I thought she was so amazing and sorry the pain that she carries around. And I went to give her a hug, and she spun on her heels and almost ran away. Because if you ever see a picture of me and Maggie is this piece of dynamite that is all of. Are you 5 foot tall, Maggie?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe 4.9.
Yeah. So she wears these amazing boots, and she was wearing these jeans that were just absolutely gorgeous, and this red velvet jacket. And I just said, you are this most amazing soul, and I'd love to have a conversation with you to help you uncover some of the discomfort. She like, okay, great. And then our relationship, because when you have the energy that she has and the energy that I have, they get drawn together. And we've spent a lot of time having conversations, and you can see why I just absolutely love her. She's this amazing soul who is fearless, literally fearless. But still has fears. So I'm just so glad. When I saw her text me this morning, I'm like, this is going to be so. I was hoping you'd be on Les's show. I didn't know that you'd make it to this one because I know it's late, but I'm glad you're getting up earlier and going to bed earlier.
No, Les's one's going to be like even later.
Yeah, I know.
But that's okay. I'll make an exception.
You're the best.
I used to sleep really late, but I've been sleeping early. That's why.
I think Jasmine, you had your hand up. Yes, Jasmine, you have your hand up.
What's up, everyone? I just want to first say that these stories that you guys are telling, like, I relate to them so much, and they're so powerful. And I just want to let you guys know that you guys are all so beautiful inside and out. And literally, you made my day. My rest of my day, because it's morning here. So the rest of my day is going to be amazing, and I'm going to remember these stories that you guys told. But I just wanted to say, I 100% went through that whole feeling of, actually I manifested more weight into my life, which is when I realized that, which I realize it now. But when I was an athlete in school and stuff like that, I was just I was beating up myself about being overweight and stuff like that. And I actually wasn't overweight at all. I was just listening to people and just absorbing what they said about me. And then I automatically thought that about myself. And then I had a sports injury that won't allow me to go as hard as I normally would have. So I ended up gaining weight and everything. And then I'm but I feel the most happy now in my life, even though I'm not the same weight, but I feel happiest now because for some reason I've been able to just overlook that and accept myself because, like, I mean, I think I'm beautiful, so, you know, but it definitely took a long time to, like, get there. And I
Hey,
just want to say,
Jasmine.
yeah,
Can you see the camera on your phone?
yes,
Can you look in the camera on your phone?
yes. Sorry, it's just like a beautiful like day already here.
I know,
Out the window.
but I want you to look into the camera and I want you to say, I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful. But I just wanted to say though, like something that I had to deal with, like growing up, wasn't really my weight as much as it was just like, I'm a person who just loves people. And I just had to deal with like people just not like wanting to talk to me because of like my race and stuff like that. And that was like the biggest thing that I think I had to overcome. And I realized like thank you guys. I realized that, you know, that people can say, because I had people say stuff about me, about like how they would only like be with me because or they would never like be with me or whatever, you know what I'm saying, just because of my race and stuff like that. And like that really like made me feel some kind of way growing up. And so I realized that I was like attracting like a lot of negative thoughts about myself. And then one day I was just like, I was fed up with it and I just let it go. And like I feel like whenever you just decide to let negative stuff go, like you feel like 10 times better about yourself. And I know it sounds like I'm making it sound a lot easier than it actually is. But like when you just make the decision to decide to not listen to other people and just believe that you are amazing and you're beautiful. And like, if no one wants to get to know that part of you, that's on them. Like, that's where I had to get to. And it's crazy, like all the negativity and all this other stuff I had to go through to realize that. But I just wanted to say that because, like, you know, we all go through all of these trials and tribulations and we all have scars and stuff like that. But like, we chose to take the more positive route and we chose to work on ourselves and really appreciate like that part of ourselves. And I think that's super powerful. And so I just wanted to share that because you guys were sharing your beautiful stories. And I just like, I love this call so much. I love you, Sean.
I love you, Jasmine. Yeah, this is all of this comes around to addiction to approval. We put our worth in other people's words until, right? And so you said you made a decision. The word decision comes from, I think, the Latin to cut off. Incision is to cut in, decision is to cut off. And the way that those things happen, the day that you decide you've had enough, the day the decision sticks is the day you've had enough. And those days come in one of two ways. It's the elderly grandfather who's the grandbaby that is absolutely the apple of his eye, comes up to him and hugs his leg and says, Papa, stop smoking, don't die. And he puts the cigarettes down because it charged him so emotionally. Something he couldn't give up for 40 years, he gives up instantly because something that's bigger than him moved him into an emotional state that the decision, that the point B, at any point that he comes in across a point B of wanting to smoke, he remembers those words and he says, no, I won't do it. Or he gets rushed to the hospital, and the fear of the hospital and the fear of the ambulance ride and the fear of having the doctors to say, we got to do a quadruple bypass on you. And he realizes the smoking is what caused this. And they say, you can keep smoking. But he says, no, I'm never going through that again. All of these stories that you heard are Jim Rohn's favorite word. You will continue to do what you do until. That's all it comes down to, until. It's a very easy word to say. It's easy to hear Maggie's story, but you hear how long it took? 3 years. Is your life worth 3 years? You hear Jasmine dealing with, and I say this all the time, right? I'm the white guy from Texas. When I can say, yeah, I feel your pain, I ain't got a clue your pain. Young woman of race, of creed, a powerful woman who stands up, a beautiful woman who stands up with that smile that Jasmine has, with this beautiful hair and this beautiful skin and all of this other stuff. But yet there's this preconceived notion because of race, because of color, because of this, because you're Dominican, because you're Puerto Rican, because you're this or that or the other. All of this goes away. All of this stays based on your choice. In this moment, you get to choose joy or you get to choose misery. But you don't understand. Maggie said it, it resides in you. There is no world out there. There is no economy out there. There's only your economy. There is no world of personal development. There's only your world of personal undevelopment. To go get 50 more books and tapes and seminars and events and spend another $100,000 in personal development on top of a structure from when you were a child that said you were no good, that said you weren't good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not strong enough, you're not skinny enough, you'll never be like your brother, you'll never be like your sister, you'll never be like your cousin. Why can't you be more like so-and-so? Why can't you be like somebody on TV? And that sinks in you and that stirs in you and that sits with you in time and space. And then you go, well, I need to learn more. I need to read more. I need to do more. I'm going to suggest you need to undo some stories. Own them. They're your stories. Own them. Why do you keep, everybody's trying to read your book, chapters 1 through 12, and you've got chapters 6, 9, and 13, they didn't even know was in the book, hidden. They can't read your book. We learn, more of you learn more about Maggie on this call than most people know about Maggie. Why? Because she's been through the pain. She knows what it's like, and she can speak from her heart saying the journey is worth it. The journey is worth it. You are worth it. When she has an amazing day, her kids absolutely have amazing days. And she giggles about it. She laughs about it. She sleeps, she dreams about it. She has come a very long way on her journey. You hear Maggie when she starts talking. How many of you think Maggie might have toned down the speed with which she communicated with us just a little bit? This is the same woman when she told me she was going on a 10-day silent retreat. I passed out. And she made it. I share all of this to share this. So I'm going to read this devotional, and I want you to be the you, right? This is a faith-based devotional, and it says, I am with you, right? And it's supposedly God saying, I am with you. But I want you to hear this as your two stories, the story you're striving for and the story you're fighting against. But I want you to read the one, I am with you, is the story of love and trust that you say to yourself. I am with you and for you. Don't you believe that's what your higher being, your higher calling is? You are your constant companion and provider. The question is whether you are with me and for me. Your story, your old story. Your old story makes you up. Isn't your old story for you and with you now, this new desire, this new goal, this new dream that you have? Though I never leave you, you can essentially leave me by ignoring me, ignoring yourself, ignoring the joyful you, ignoring the presence of you, thinking or acting as if I am not with you. Isn't your desire always with you? Isn't your glory always with you? Isn't the grace that you bestow upon others, isn't it always with you? What if you began to use it for you? When you feel distance in our relationship, anybody ever feel, oh, I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Why can't I? If you ever feel distance in our relationship, you know where the problem lies. Ooh, snap. My love for you is constant. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. It is you who like shifting sand, letting circumstances toss you this way and that. When you feel far from me, whisper my name. This simple act, done in childlike faith, opens your heart to my presence. If you just said, how many of you can say your name? Sean, Jasmine, Maggie, Rhonda, Monique, Ann, Dekaya, Nano, How many of you can say your name and know that this is so true, that that's who you are becoming? Opens your heart to my presence. Speak to me in love tones. Prepare to receive my love, which flows eternally from the cross. Oh, why do I keep sacrificing myself? I am delighted when you open yourself to my loving presence. Now that works with us, but sometimes we might need a higher power. Maybe that might be the faith that you're looking for. Maybe that might be the quote this morning that inspired you to have a conversation at a whole new level with yourself, right? We say this all the time, let go, let God. Man plans, God laughs. What if you just asked for help? What if you just asked a little bit bigger? We pray for the world. Where's the sin in praying for ourselves?
I've got a 6-month training program that's valued at $2,997. Today you can have it for 27 bucks.
Okay. Yeah, then that's what it's worth. What are you worth today? What is your story today? Dakaya, you got your hand up?
Hi, Sean. Good morning,
Good morning,
everyone.
my love.
So, thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Monique. Thank you for all the ladies who talked this morning, because I was going through it. I woke up and I wasn't doing bad. I wasn't feeling like the workout that I was about to get into. And I was like beating myself up over here, and I was like, well, I made a schedule and I need to stay on track. And I was like, who am I staying on track for? And I'm like, I get it, like working out is something that's for me, but like right now it's not for me. Because I'm like, my knee is like getting in the way of that. And I'm like, I know working out is gonna make it worse. So I was like, why should I feel bad for like taking care of myself almost? And then yesterday I was on a call, and I was like, what's the difference between a why and a how? And I was like, so like for instance, for a painting, right? You ask the question of how you can make somebody how you can make people ask why they feel the way that they do when they look at it. It's not necessarily about like, just having it's not exactly about the how, like having the technique, I guess you could say. And another thing that like keeps like coming up is like being comfortable. And then I had to ask myself, I was like, am I not comfortable with where I am physically or who I am? And so, yeah, these questions have been just swirling in my thoughts. Oh, yeah, that was my 2 cents for the day.
Well, Dakaya, thank you. So I would encourage you, the questions you asked, you might use some language that says, why am I so good at answering those, to give me clearer direction? Why am I so good at anything? Why am I so good at feeling good about myself? What? Because we can come up with the negative stories, right?
Right.
And they say, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard people say it. I'm not a scientist, that a negative thought is more powerful than a positive thought. I do know this: in the brain, they can actually determine which part of the brain carries the positive neurons and which one carries the negative neurons. The left prefrontal cortex carries the negative neurons. The right prefrontal cortex carries the positive neurons. At some point, technology is going to come about. It might even affect your insurance rates. Are you a negative person? Well, your rate's a little higher than those people who are positive.
Exactly.
So I would do, and science shows that if you have if you have some more positive neurons in your brain than negative, what do you think your personality might be like? A little bit more positive. So how do you feed yourself to have more positive neurons?
Okay. And then another thing, I was like, this whole like idea of being like in between just keeps coming up. And I'm like, is it that I haven't made a decision yet? And I'm like, I thought I did, but did I? And I don't know, like I've always just been in the middle of like two extremes.
Well,
So I'm just trying to figure that out.
so when people talk about balance,
Yes.
balance is impossible until you decide there's nothing to balance. It comes down to the simplicity of joy or misery. That's the only balance you have. Not whether you got to feed the cat, or somebody passed away, or you just lost your job and you just got a raise. Joy or misery. There's not, listen, if I listen carefully, let me open up my shutter here. Oh yeah, I can hear it. I hear the worms rioting against each other outside.
Mm-hmm.
That would never happen.
No, because
unless
you have some great hearing.
we'd never see the worms carrying picket signs going, those worms are bad worms over there. Night crawlers are bad, earthworms are good, garden worms rule, night crawlers rule, and they're not marching the sidewalk out there either.
Right.
Why are we so advanced?
We're not?
We're not. We've just thought ourselves into an advancement. Are we spiritual beings having a human experience? Humans having a spiritual experience?
Spiritual beings having a human experience.
So then why did we lose our spirituality?
Man.
When this bone skin storage facility, right? We're nothing more than an Amazon locker. And just like when they open up the locker at the end of Men in Black, and they realize that we're that little thing on a keychain, we're that little marble, and there's all of these aliens playing marbles with universes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like change the way you look at it. And all of that was inside of a locker, inside of a room. All we are is Amazon lockers.
All we are Amazon lockers.
And we're just the storage of everything people have poured into us. What would happen when you open up this locker called you? What flows out of it? Light, love? Or are you one of those lockers, they open it up and it's like, son of a bitch! Ooh, God, on the outside it said joy and peace. Man, what? That was a shocker.
Right.
That was good. I heard it.
Yes, I'm having a moment where I'm realizing that on a subconscious level, I was choosing misery all this time because, well, in addition to not pouring into myself, but being so good at pouring into other people. So I guess my real question is, why am I so good at pouring into myself?
Yes, that might be a good question to spend some time coming up with some great answers on.
Thank you, Sean.
Love you tons, Dakaya.
I love you too.
Yay. Adeloise, good morning, my love.
Good morning. I'm well. I'm walking with two little girls in a squeaky wagon, so hopefully you can hear me above the squeaks. My question relates to like working out and everything on that level, but it can actually apply to a lot of other things. I don't like competition. Like, I like competition, but I don't like competitions. Like if there's a weight loss challenge or, you have to compete to win a certain thing or sports. And I think a lot of it goes down to my belief of wanting everybody to win. So like I've done it in the past where I have joined a weight loss challenge and I literally like self-sabotage myself. So, and it even comes down to like reading books, when you guys were talking about that earlier. I will start a book and it's been ages since I've ever finished a book. So can you dive into that a little bit?
Well, what happens if you finish the book?
then I've finished it. I've completed something.
Right. So is it okay if we gave up the old story, I never finish anything?
It's funny because my husband actually calls me the finisher when it comes to like food and stuff like that. And so it's, I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword, I guess you could say. Like I want to always make sure that I finish what I start, but then there's certain things in my life where I'm not finishing what I start, or if it comes to me, I just kind of give up on it.
Well,
And then
in the little bit that we've had conversations, it sounds like the things you'll finish is for recognition of others, not yourself.
recognition of others, he said?
Mm-hmm. And not yourself. You finish it for them. There's few things you finish for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would change? What old story what truth would you have to now give up to believe the new information you just heard?
Oh, maybe that I'm not selfish.
Yeah, that if you take care of you, would it be okay if you took care of you?
Yeah.
And again, this is a male brain speaking to a very strong female brain. So, RBP.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Louise. How are you?
Great. I just mute myself because of the squeaky wagon.
That's okay. That's okay. I wanted us to connect yesterday, but my phone did a whole crazy, I don't know what, and Sean ended up having to be like a secretary for me. So I apologize we didn't get to connect. So Sean's dancing around probably a very emotional thought process for you. And I'm not even sure that you're willing to look at it. When, as moms, we're often called selfish if we do anything for ourselves to better ourselves. And what is Maggie T saying? We wait for physical condition to feel good. We need to tune ourselves consciously to choose a better feeling thought. Yeah, that's funny that you just wrote that, Maggie, because I wrote down our choices that a subconscious affect our conscious. And we're so addicted to recognition from others that we don't sit in front of that mirror and hug those places that we don't want to hug and recognize ourselves. And because we're not doing that, we, for lack of better words, our love tank gets completely dry. And so then we look at anyone and everyone to fill that for us. And Louise, when I look at your picture and when I see your picture, yeah, Maggie, you're right. We resent others for not giving that to us, for not appreciating us. You are, Louise, you're this amazing, beautiful, stunning woman. And when you speak, you have your words put together well. You're very thoughtful. And I wonder what it is that has been spoken over you and into you that you cloak yourself in the illusion of I'm the finisher, but you're almost too scared to get started at looking at yourself closely. It's like what Maggie said earlier, taking your clothes off in front of the mirror and hugging yourself is almost impossible because we're looking for someone else to hug it for us. And no matter where that hugging comes from, if it doesn't come from you, it's never going to hit the deepest part of you that's yearning to be loved, because you can only love yourself at that deep level. That's not something you can get from anybody else, because if it was, then it wouldn't be able to be taken away. Yes, Maggie's exactly right. You are love. So then the question I would sit with you would be, when in your life did someone speak over you that you're not lovable and that you're not worthy and that you're not capable? I had that spoken over me in the form of someone kept saying, you're selfish. You're a very selfish person. You're a very, very selfish person. And I'm like, how in the world could I be that? I'll give you anything I own. I'd give you the clothes off my back right now and walk home naked if I could. So can you think of a time where you've been told anything like that?
Yeah, with both of my husbands. I was married once before and I'm married now. That's the only thing I can really, remember back to. I don't remember my childhood ever being displeasing by any way. I know I was teased in school because of weight, and I've come a long way since my 20s because I had some medical complications, and I honestly, I feel good about my appearance now because I feel like I look the best I have in my whole entire life. And I'm proud of myself because I was almost 300 pounds, and now now I don't even care about the number. I care about how I feel. And I'm like, wow, I look great even after having 4 children. And you're right. I think the same about myself. I would give the shirt off my back, and which color do you want? I mean, I even gave a child to another family that couldn't have. And so I do not to pump my fist, but I feel like I am loved. So then why do I feel like I'm so unlovable?
You have really paid a lot of attention, and I commend you for that, for the people around you and the love you've given to everybody. And you are love. I can hear it in your voice, the love you have. I can hear the tenderness in your voice. I can hear the compassion for life and for love that you have. What is it that makes you not want to love yourself that way and more? And that's a hard question to sit with, because it's at a very deep subconscious level that in some shape and form and fashion, and Sean can jump in here anytime, you don't feel worthy of your own love. It's that, if you did what Maggie suggested earlier, could you do that? Could you go stand in front of the mirror and hug every part of you, authentically saying, I love that? And it might take you 4 or 5 times to do it before you actually believed it.
Line up with the thought first and make sure you feel good first before you do it, because otherwise, I resisted so long when I was given to me the first time that exercise, and I think about that and go, oh, could I do it today? If not today, that's okay, but tomorrow, that's fine. You know what I mean? You really got to learn to soothe yourself, and I think that's where all the problem is, because we put the resistance within our own trail, and that's why we're not getting what we want. Is we say we want this, but we can't have that. Just we want it, but we can't have it. Just, you know what I mean? Because we have this. That's why the push and pull, and that's why we're going nowhere. So just sit with that thought first. And if you don't do it today, it doesn't mean that you failed at it. You know what I mean? There's no failure. And there's so many definitions that we need to redefine in order for us to move forward. And you don't have to do it today. You really got to be comfortable with your own thoughts first. And I think because we do create our reality with our thoughts, so actions don't matter. You need to really get your thoughts in line with the positive side in order to create a positive life.
Yeah, and Eloise, you have, and this is what I hope you're going to get from this, you have everything you need inside of you. And as you second guess yourself, that's normal. That's what Maggie was just saying. You have to sit with yourself to get to a place in your mind to where you can actually hear yourself say these things. Otherwise, it's just the same cycle that you're in. But for me, this is for me, I kept having this reoccurring rejection life. Everyone that came into my life that I just opened my heart to and loved, I got rejected by. And then I would turn around and do it again, I got rejected by them. Then I turned around. And for me, I kept going, yeah. For me, I kept going, why do all these kind of people keep coming into my life? I'm so kind and so loving and so generous and so willing. And at the very essence of who I am, I am. And I had to sit one day and in front of a mirror, I had to do a total different conversation. I had to ask, what's the common denominator in this equation? And it reflected back on the person in the mirror. It's me. And that's a very hard realization, because we don't want to see ourselves as that. But as I sat there and realized, okay, the common denominator in every one of these relationships is me. What is in me that's either speaking this rejection or accepting the thoughts of rejection, and I am drawing all this to me? What is this? Because I often tell people, like spirit draws like spirit. Yeah, it's like spirit draws like spirit. So if I keep saying, why all these crazy people around me? Why I keep getting mean people? What's in my heart comes out of my mouth. Out of the mouth, the heart speaks. And if I'm speaking and attracting people that I don't particularly find comfortable to be around, it's because of the something inside my heart that I need to work on me. And the beauty of this is you've got full control now. It's not at the breeze brings by whomever in this world. It's as you begin to look inside yourself. And I'm not saying the way people have treated you is right or fair. I'm not saying that. I'm not justifying anybody else's actions. What I'm saying is you now have control over, like what Maggie said at the very beginning, as to what comes around you now. Because as you change what's in your heart, and it's a big buzzword right now, as you change your vibration, different energies can't be around you because your vibration is so different. It kind of snitches on their vibration and they're like, yeah, no, I don't want to be around her. And the thing we got to get used to is it's okay for some of those people to not want to be around us. It's okay. That's okay. So as women, we like to have control. Security is a big deal to us. Financial security is a big deal to us. Emotional security is a big deal to us. Stability, those type of things, those are huge in a woman's life. And what's an illusion is that you have to get that from everybody else. When in reality, as you go inside and you do some internal dialogue in your heart and in yourself, the control you end up with is unfreaking believable. It's unbelievable. But no one will ever tell you that.
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I was a single mom between marriages, that was my best time ever. And I'm going to stop because of the squeaky wagon. That was my best time ever. I mean, that's the time when I was so powerful and just so exuberant, and, you know, money just kept on flowing to me. And, you know, I feel like many times I'm better alone than I am with somebody else. Like I know psychologically I don't need anybody else, but I want somebody else in my life, in, you know, my space to grow old with, to have that best friend. And I'm at the space now where I feel like I'm running out of time. I'm only 35, but I feel like I'm running out of time. And I'm like, so then I just don't do anything at all. It's like it literally like stops me in my tracks. And I'm like, why am I just spinning my wheels? Like, I know I could be doing all these things. I know I can finish that book. I know I can build an amazing, you know, organization. Like, I've done it before. And it's like I keep on looking back to that time when I was alone and I was on fire and nothing was stopping me. And then it's like, whoops, there's love, swerve. And
so
you crumbled.
Eloise, you said you have children, right? How many children do you have?
I have 2 teenagers, and then I had the surrogate child between marriages. I just wanted to give that gift of life. So he's 7 and he lives in Belgium. And then Now in the second marriage, I have a 2, well, she will be 2 next Friday. So I've had
is it
4
okay for
children,
you?
but I
Yeah.
have 3 of
Is
my
it
own.
okay for you to is it okay for you to just show up and love your children for the day?
That's hard to, well, it's hard because of some of the dynamics right now. Like in my presence, I only have my 2-year-old. My teenagers are with their grandmother. So there's a lot of physical distance between us, but emotionally, connectively, we talk every day. We'll FaceTime. Like we're there. They can feel me from 1,500 miles away that something's not right. And Sean and I touched on that. Like I know they're part of me, and I don't even have to say anything. They'll be like, "Mom, you okay?" Like I'll probably get a text after this call.
Well,
But
and that's very interesting because I'm sure Sean's shared with you that your DNA, no matter where it is, whether it's in your body or in your children's body, the way you're affected affects your DNA, which is a whole nother reason why the way Maggie started our conversation this morning about loving yourself is so huge, because as you love yourself, you extend that to your children through your DNA. And everything I'm saying is to get you to look at you and inside you. And oftentimes we reflect and we want to see what everybody else thinks of us, and we want to see our circumstances, and we want to see everything that's going on. And by all means, I hear your heart, I hear your pain, and I feel you. And maybe Sean or Maggie can say something, even Monique can say something to help you understand that as you go inside, as you sit with Ada Louise and you sit with her heart, it will be a very emotional sit down at first, and it will be full of intense thoughts and emotions. But as you see yourself, this is where control for your teenagers and your little girl are going to come in huge, 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 huge. And you're going to make some strides that are unbelievable in amount of distance you'll go in a short amount of time. And I can only say that because in the last year, the way I've changed is unstinking believable. It's just unbelievable. And it's all because I looked at my heart and I held on to the thought of, I know who this woman is. I'm going to shed everything everyone else has said she is. And I'm going to step into the glory that has always been inside of me and the love that's always been inside of me. And we are going to be in control of how this goes. And I had some really hard sit downs with myself and realized I'm attracting all this because I'm looking out here for everything when everything is right here. It's all right here. Sean, do you have a better way to say that? Or Maggie, do you have a better way to say that?
Eloise, can you love the squeaky wheel on the wagon?
Yeah, of course. I listen to it every morning on my walk. I just didn't want it to be annoying to you guys.
That's exactly the metaphor I'm talking about. You believe that when you let the squeaky wheel be annoying, that's got to stop. And the second you decide that we got to love you for the squeaky wheel, the noise in the traffic, the wind blowing by, the kids in the cart, if we let that distract us from your message, then you're saying your message isn't strong enough.
What if I struggle with the thought that I do have something valuable to share, something to say? Because I wasn't going to raise my hand at first, but then I was like, darn it, I need this question answered about why I don't like competitions. Like, I don't care for sports. I want everybody to win.
So here's
and then I was like, oh.
Why are you so good at winning while everybody else is winning?
You said, why am I so good at winning while everybody else is winning?
And everybody around you wins as well. Why is it okay for you to win so much? Why are you so good at winning even though everybody around you wins?
Well, that's how I like to think, because, you know, I always believed in what Jim Rohn.
But do you want to say it?
Do I want to what?
Do you want to say it that way? Jim Rohn, don't ask for things to be better, ask for you to get better.
Well, with Jim Rohn, I was actually thinking, you know, if you, or what's it, Zig Ziglar, if you help everybody get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Right, but you have to be in a place to help them get what they want, which means you've already got to be leading. You've got to come from a place that you're in charge, that you control, that you understand and can be a guidance for them, because who's going to want to follow somebody that doesn't know where they're going? How can So you have this beautiful child in a squeaky wagon behind you. Can you fall in love with this moment?
Yes.
Then I would start there. I would start with the squeaky wheel, because I can tell you, if somebody stole your wagon, you would long for the squeaky wheel.
That's true. That happened with my bike recently. And we just got it back. So
Funny how that happened. So I would ask you to be more present, because the conversation you're having is not about the present moment. It's about some future or some past. Breathe and just be present, because you can't answer those other questions until you become present. Because you're either answering a future question from the past and there's no solution. You're trying to answer a past question from the future of, well, it shouldn't be this way. I want it to be this way. I would ask you to just work on you getting centered, which is the most difficult thing to do. But you can't answer all of these other questions until you decide you're going to answer them from a position. Whatever that position is, whatever that place is, you get to choose what that place is, and then you can start to have answers from a standpoint of a feeling where you're going to decide where you're going to be. Because that squeaky wheel means a lot to you now, because you got the wagon back. Could you go buy another wagon? Yes, but that's your wagon. That's your squeaky wheeled wagon. Love it. Don't worry about whether it affects us. Don't worry about whether it's going to bother us or we're going to hear a squeaky wheel. You know what? Maybe that is the distraction to weed out the folks. Oh, I don't want to listen to her. She's got a squeaky wheel. Love your squeaky wheel. There's people who come onto my call. I see the numbers go up. I see the numbers go down. And it's like, what are they talking about? I start reading from my journal. I watch the numbers drop down. Oh, he's talking about God. This is one of those things. Yeah, it is one of those things. It's my thing. I don't need your permission to talk to whether I speak about God or not. I don't need your permission to whether I love on Maggie, who's like, who's this woman? She's a dear friend of mine. She's a soulmate of mine. I say that to say, this is my world. I get to include all of you in it. When you decide to own your world, amazing things will begin to happen, and you get to speak that into yourself every day.
I just want to add something. I've noticed the big thing about these personal development things and then I stopped listening to all of them all. And since I go inside, is that I'm just referring back to Zig Ziglar. To have what you want, you like let everybody have what they want or something. Like, I don't remember it, but you can't be poor enough to help poor people get wealthy, and you can't be confused enough to help many people get clarity. You have to be of service of yourself first in order for you to pour into others. The reason why Sean is pouring into us is because he's damn centered and he's damn knowledgeable and wisdom. He's poured all into himself all those years. That's why we're benefiting from it. So there's no more self-sacrifice and thinking we need to serve in order for us to get validation and feel loved and stuff, because we're coming from lack and we're looking for the outside world again to fill the void within us, or we're waiting for that lover to be on our bed and we're waiting for the house to show up for us to feel good. No, we need to feel good now, you know? And I'm saying is because, I mean, like I was very negative before, and we all have a journey. And again, You're never done and you're never wrong. So stop beating yourself up. That was giving you the contrast of what is it that you want. So focusing on what you want, soothe yourself, like going general and not going, and when I need that, when I have that thing, I'm going to feel good. Or when I be clear about that, I'm going to feel good. No, it's all conditions, like put aside. You need to feel good now. What are your thoughts now? Are you present with it now? Or is it from the past that you thinking of? That you haven't left that behind yet, because it's you're still thinking about it, which means you brought that 20 years or whatever it is to now. Like, that's what I'm saying. You got to be at service of you for you now. So yeah, you can't be confused enough to help confused people get clarity, and you can't be poor enough. Like, you're not going to go one day and go, oh, I feel well today, I've been feeling well for the last 30 years, I'm going to be sick now so other people can get well. You don't do that, because you can see the manifestation of it. And again, I'm talking about the physical things, that humans are so stuck in physical because they're so focusing on the physical. That's why they lose track, and that's why we feel like this. And the reason why you feel bad is because who you are at core level, with every single one of us, a soul level. Look at all the babies come in. They are full of love. We are love. The reason we feel bad is because we're not acting from love. We're not love. We're not loving ourselves. We're not loving from others. And the universe is abundance. It's not I serve you, you feel good and makes me feel bad, so that's why I need you to appreciate me. It doesn't work like that, right? So that's why you got to fill your cup first. You got to go within. I know it's going to feel really, really difficult, but I mean, we all had to do it. Like, I'm like, what is the common thing about all these successful people? And I realized as you dig further and further, you will find more into it. So yeah, you got to serve yourself first. And when you have that so much energy, that's when you can really disperse it and share with the world. And it starts with your kids too.
Maggie, we're gonna have to pass the offering pan after you got done, girl. You just preached a whole sermon right there. That was awesome, Maggie.
Yeah, keep on doing that, please.
So this is what community does. This is what community means. This is when we circle in time and space. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. They share their story. You get to enjoy the story. You get to pick a part of it that sinks in time and space with you. And there's stories you've heard on here, you go, ooh, I like that. The question is when this call ends in about a minute, what happens now? Can you relive that story? That's why I record these. My assistant will get this downloaded and put back up into YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel and find it. What is playing in your house right now? When you go home, what is playing in your house? If it's not something you choose, it's an old story that's playing. It's 70,000 thoughts a day. If you don't have the music you want in your house, if you've got the news on and you just need it for noise, I change it to Gaia. I change it to Amazon Music. I change it to something that spiritually lifts you, that connects with you at a human level, that connects with your story. And if you put that stuff on and you're like, well, I need to change that. I wonder what else is going on. That's the attraction to the distraction. Can you be attracted to the love you begin to have for yourself? Can you be with you, your constant companion and provider? And the question is whether you are with me and for me. When did you ever leave you? When did this dream ever leave you? It never left you. It just got put on the side. It got told, go to the side, get off stage and go to the back room. Go sit in the audience. It's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to have more of what you want and less of what you don't. When does that happen? It happens in a now. Whether it's Maggie's journey of 3 years and a realization, but every day it was a now, and then it was a bigger now, and then it was a little bigger now, and then it was a realization of now, and there's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Can you have an oh my gosh moment every moment? Is it okay to give up the old story? Who's going to be pissed off when you give up the old story? That's the question. Maggie said it earlier. It's not what you say about me. It's what I say about what you said about me when you leave. Find your community of individuals. That's what we've done here. Find your community of individuals where you can come in, show up, right? This isn't a testosterone call. This is a call of love. That's why I absolutely love that I have powerful women that come on here, because I get to sit back and go, they ain't getting it from me. But if I'm the well, if I can be the well and you guys can all show up here and you can dip in and get a little Rhonda and now Maggie T, you guys are going to follow Maggie T on IG or Facebook or wherever. These are the souls that are out there, the community of souls that are out there that are looking to find individuals just like you to help raise you up, lift you up. I ain't going to do it for you. I can't go to the gym and lift your weights for you. You're going to have to do the work. You can't, today's the day you can't say any longer, well, I need them. No, you need you. And when you start doing the work, you're going to feel muscle pain. You're going to feel discomfort. You're going to realize that you're needing to stretch. And that's when you can come ask us, I feel this now. What do I do now? And in those moments, you have your awakenings.
It's funny that you say that, because when I do work out, I prefer the workout methods where I have a trainer and they just tell me what to do, and I will push harder than anybody in there. They're always like, you're a beast. I'm like, yes. But if I have to go to the gym by myself, then I'm like, treadmill, stairmaster, like, this is boring.
Well, here's the good news. Here's the good news. You've just had 3 trainers tell you what to do. Get your ass in gear. I love you.
Got it. True.
I love you. No more excuses. You've got 3 powerful women, all of these powerful women. Get your butt in gear. Start taking care of you. Do what they guide you to do. Let them train you until you have created the momentum strong enough that Maggie talked about earlier with Ann. Have you lost your momentum? Until you get the momentum, right? Use our faith in you, use our direction in you till you have your own direction in you, because you've had it before. That's the frustrating part. Let us help you get it back.
You're welcome to borrow my courage and my strength and my joy. You're welcome to borrow that. I'll be sending you all kinds of love and joy and comfort. Borrow Sean's, borrow mine, borrow Maggie's, borrow Monique's, borrow ours. Sit in that so you can actually sit and believe that you have the same thing inside yourself. We'll help you see everything that's inside of you. We'll help you bring it to the surface and see it for yourself, and then you'll be able to go let somebody borrow your strength and your love and your courage to see it inside themselves. And you just keep paying it forward. We love you.
Thank you.
Maggie, any last words, my dear?
I think it's good that you've got us around here and stuff, but we obviously, no one can be around you 24/7. Only you can be around you 24/7. So I think the confidence I actually got for myself is actually proving to myself that I actually have it within me. So just do the things that, whatever resonate with you at the moment is right for you right at this time. Do that, and within a week, see if there's any changes, and then slowly you have to consciously see the change, the positive change, write them down, note them, and that's how momentum builds. Because every journey, 1,000 steps starts with 1. But if you don't notice, that's nothing, I'm not going to write it down, then you're not building that momentum. You see my dear? So you got to start really, really small, and that's what people miss. People want to jump massively. I want a big house straight away so I can be happy. I want to love it straight away. You know what I mean? You got to really start smallly, and until you prove it to yourself day to day that you can do this, that's where your confidence comes from. That's when you know you've got this. What we say don't mean anything, because I couldn't have other people. I mean, it's great. Like I jump on one of these things and stuff, and now after I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm back to myself again, because the momentum has led me to that. So you got to do it consciously, change your thought one at a time, and you can do this because you've got like all hours of the day to do that. You can do it in your toilet, you can do it every time. Choose a better thought, and I promise you, your life will change. Momentum starts very small, but you got to really note it. And then when you prove it to yourself, that's when you know that you've got it.
There you go. I hope this brought value to you today. I wonder every day, one of the things that my ego says, I wonder if it'll be half as good as yesterday. And every day they keep getting better and better and better and better. And how that happens, I have no idea. I do have an idea. It comes from God. And it's because I ask each day, 1, I promise to do no harm. And 2, I promise to deliver something I've never delivered before. That takes faith.
Oh, sorry, Sean, can I just add one more? When you said that, it just reminded me of a YouTube, this like, I can't remember which one, but one of the famous guy, his life went down the drain because every day he kept noticing the negative things. Oh, he goes, can this get any worse? Every day he goes, can this get any worse? So it did get worse. Whereas you're like, can this get any you know, better than yesterday. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's the massive contrast. But when I didn't hear that from him, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's how he went back and he traced back and goes, wow, that's when the time when everything just kept getting worse and worse because momentum built.
And now, Maggie, after around episode 290, 300, I said, this is going to be so much better today than yesterday. And I had to give up the ego of, I have no idea how, but my idea of why is because this is right now is the moment for women, for them to have a place of conversation like this. Can you think of any place where some guru guy gets on and lets these conversations happen and he says 8 words in his own presentation? This is about conversation. This isn't about presentation. So I'm just glad I get to be here. I'm glad that we've all found each other in time and space, and we get to circle in this planet at this particular moment with each other. So there you go, folks. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Bye, y'all. Love y'all.
Bye,
everybody.
y'all. Everyone have a blessed day. Love you, my Misfit
Thank you. I'm gonna go
family.
to bed now.
Bye, everyone. I love
Bye,
you
Maggie.
Thank you,
guys.
Maggie.
Everybody have a great day. Love all of y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for all your
everyone.
wisdom and making my cup overflow. Love you guys.
Love you too, Ralph.
Thank you.
Yay. See you mañana.